Thank you for joining us on the Media Connection. I'm Naima Latif. We're here at the State of Illinois building where State Representative Shawn Ford is hosting a press conference introducing Operation Save Lives, demanding state, county, and city financial resources for the many programs that are being conducted by the citizens of this state and are being very effective, but have been given no financial assistance.
So we went and we met with the Chicago superintendent and we talked to him about the policing in the city, and we actually told him that we want to work with him and we don't agree with the Chicago police policies, but we still can work with him. And so he agreed to work with us, and you will hear more from Tyrone Muhammad, but Maxwell is going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. I don't want to steer his conversation. I don't know what his heart is leading, but I know that he's going to be working with the superintendent and Springfield to make sure that we have better police policies. Maxwell.
Good evening. As you see, when brothers and sisters gather together, especially black brothers and sisters, the press don't come out when there's something positive. So first and foremost, I want to acknowledge that. But what I want to talk about is the Chicago police hiring practices and how we can strengthen those hiring practices. So the Illinois consent decree, the last day to submit community input is today. Why the Attorney General office did not promote that publicly every single day, I don't know. But recently on their Twitter, they posted one tweet about it. And that disturbed me because we have an unprecedented situation where we can provide input on the changes we would like to see inside that Illinois consent decree. And what I noticed was a lack of priority towards rigorous educational requirement in the Chicago Police Department hiring qualifications. Currently, you only need 60 college credit hours from an accredited college or university with 3 years active duty or 1 year of active duty with 30 semester hours. Within those college credit hours, no specific educational qualifications are required. That means you can take basket weaving, that means you can take graphic design, that means you can take anything you want. Take the test and become a Chicago police officer. Now that is dangerous. If you have read the Department of Justice investigation report in 2017, you will know that our communities have been attacked historically and presently. Our men, women, and children are under attack by the Chicago Police Department on a daily basis, whether armed or unarmed, whether fleeing or not fleeing, whether walking down the street or not walking down the street. Mind your own business. So what I propose is a critical race theory curriculum continuing education for all Chicago Police Department employees. And I also propose it for the mayor of Chicago. Critical race theory education is a pedagogy that allows challenging discourse to continue so that individuals can look upon themselves and see are they are more or less complicit within the institutions that we serve in, such as Chicago Police Department. It is a curriculum that basically challenges and critiques systems of oppression, white supremacy, and how we can combat those issues within the Chicago Police Department. It was an educator that once said, when you change the mind, you can transform behavior. We have to have a mandatory critical race theory curriculum for all Chicago Police Department, for Chicago Police Department in the city of Chicago.
So when I met Maxwell, I met him and he told me he had a bachelor's degree and he had a master's degree and he's got, I think, 2 children. But he also told me he was unemployed. So how in the world do you have an educated black man without a criminal record unemployed? So what we know is that there's a problem. Even when we go to school to be educated, we get shut out. David Peterson. There we go. Okay. So David Peterson is not just David Peterson, but he's David Peterson of the A. Philip Randolph Museum from the South Side of Chicago. Pullman.
Thank you. If I have permission from my elders to speak, please say Ashe.
Ashe.
Right. My name, as he said, my name is David Peterson. I'm president and executive director of the National A. Philip Randolph Pullman Border Museum. founder and director of operations of Randolph's Dream Community Development Corporation, and founder, co-founder of Eat to Live Restaurant. I'm here because what we're doing now is collectively coming together as a collective to bring a HBCU hip-hop grub spot venture capitalist ecosystem to Chicago State University. What this will do is serve as a $20 million ecosystem that will include construction, food, and entertainment that will provide jobs and resources not funded by the government, but all private funding at Chicago State University. So this is the type of model that we're trying to incorporate into government, where we can bring outside resources into the city, into the community, without having to depend on someone else to determine our fate. And then at that time, we'll be self-sufficient for years to come. In addition to that, what we're doing is creating a new standard of which we transform donors into shareholders and investors. So this is the standard that we're working for going forward, and we look for all support going forward with that. Thank you.
And next is Randy Ryder. He's a brother that always comes to Springfield on his own dime to speak about the pathway to citizenship for American citizens. I don't know, that might sound strange, but a pathway to citizenship for an American citizen. How do you do that?
Good afternoon, everybody. First I want to say I'm honored to be here, to be allowed to speak. Everybody can't, so I'm honored to be chosen. We've spoken about the pathway to citizenship, the injustice of the justice system in the city of Chicago. But we can't do anything about it. Right now, the incarceration is used as a tool to eliminate. It is used as a tool to deny opportunity. It is not used, see, they can't say N-word, I'm gonna say it correctly. They can't say N-word, you can't come through this door. But they can say ex-felon, you can't come through this door. And then most of the time, that's one and the same. But we're not really getting to the root problem. The root problem is the mass incarceration of the 80s and the 90s, and the residual effect of the John Burge situation, where it took all of the leadership and the male leadership off of the street. This is what we got out here right now. That's the reason why we got what we got. There were no fathers in the 80s and 90s. They were all in the penitentiary. There were no leaders in the penitentiary. Now what I do, besides, I have a 4-step process by which young men can regain their citizenship. We're not asking you to give us nothing. We're asking you to let us earn it. You tell us to pull ourselves up by our bootstrap, well, I'm gonna tell you, here's the boots right here. You must complete your parole or probation and any associated board orders. You must obtain a GED or have a high school diploma. You must be working, actively seeking work, or involved in a college or vocational program and free of felony convictions for 1, 3, 5, or 7 years, commensurate with the level of your conviction. This right here is the only way we will restore our male population to the ability to be head of household, as the brother spoke about earlier. If you can't work, you can't be head of household. He who has the goal makes the rules. That's not the golden rule, that's the golden rule. He who has the goal makes the rules. So if your wife is earning the money, she making the rules. Right. So now, we're gonna talk about it. I thank everybody for the opportunity to speak. And with that, I say a shake.
Thank you. James Highsmith, Director of Recruitment and Mentorship from Project Hood.
Thank you. How you doing? Y'all ready to introduce me? I work under Pastor Brooks. And we got this economic center down on 63rd in the middle of Woodline. And our target population is Woodline and Inglewood. Our purpose is to set up a center where people can come in and take advantage and explore all they wanting to do as far as entrepreneurship. We do training. We got a construction class that we train. We had 100% completion record, and they all got a job as soon as they left the program. But what our serious problem is, and what we're talking about now, is violence in our community, which has been a hindrance for us to actually progress as far as a safe and a healthy community. It's great to be here with these other organizations because what's happening in our community is we're so fractured. We're not together. The fact that there's no mainstream media here, no officials like the police, here, only tells us one thing. It reinforces the fact that we have to take care of ourselves.
That's right.
We got to find out our own solutions to our own problems.
That's right.
Right now, we need some right now solutions for some right now problems. And the biggest problem we have in our community as of today is that we are being killed and murdered and raped. And the sad part is that we're being murdered and killed and raped by our children. There's no strangers coming in our community. There's no M13s that Trump trying to say that you're trying to raid this country. None of them are in our community. The only racists in our community are ones that carry badges. Until we recognize that the problem that we have is our problem and we're the only ones to solve it, there's no need for better schools. There's no need for businesses in our community. The simple reason is that you're too afraid of dying to enjoy it or take advantage of it. So what we need is, what time up?
Keep going, go ahead.
So what I'm saying is that this is a great opportunity for us to recognize that everybody is against us, but we're against ourselves. And it's time for us as a community and the organizations to come and form a league to take our community back in the sense that what we want to do is recognize that it's a community problem and that we as a community got to reinforce it, that we have to solve it ourselves. Thank you.
And Maxwell is going to stand up. When he stand up, that means you sit down. Shay Allen. All right. So you see Maxwell.
I see him.
When
I
he
see
stand,
him.
yes.
I got it.
So what they call a judge?
Oh, yeah. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. My name is Shay Allen. As Brother Reeven just said, I'm an attorney. I'm a civil rights and criminal defense attorney. But I'm here today because at Howard Law, where I went to law school, we learned to be social engineers and not parasites in society. So I had an obligation to come back to Chicago because our city is on the precipice of the point of no return. I think it's very important that all these people standing up here out here working hard in the community. I'm from Roseland, born and raised, public school my entire life. But I should be the rule and not the exception. I think it's time for all of us to stand up and speak for those in our community who feel like they're always apologizing. Speak for those who feel like they've done too much to come home. Speak for those people who feel like that no one is praying for them. Those are people in our community that need the help. Once we help those people and work together in our community, we can make actual progress. A lot of times we hear the expression, we need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, but if you don't have the boots in the first place, it makes it that much more difficult. So if we can get those resources, get those boots, we can work together and get this done. The community, all the brothers standing up, brothers and sisters standing up here right now, this is what we need. This is what will move our community forward. And specifically, I'm working with Level Up and Vote and any other organization I think that was willing to take me and help because the millennials and the folk who are out in the community, those are the ones we need to stop, we need to listen to, and to see what they need and get it to them. Once folk have resources, everything else will work itself out. Guarantee it. So I'm happy to be here today. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the rep back here behind me. There he is. Yeah. And I appreciate Brother Reeven. Thank you so much.
Thank you, attorney. And next we have Kenny Goss.
Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Kenny Doss II. I would just like to start off by saying I am them. The reason why I say I am them is because I fit the description of every young black man in the Inglewood community, which is why I chose to go to college. I'll be graduating in December with my degree in business sales. So I lost my first childhood friend to gun violence in 7th grade, actually. And since then, I lost uncountable friends, and it just became a situation to now numb to the fact. Every year since I've been away at college, I got that phone call, and it's just like, you grieve for a second, but you continue to carry on with your day, which is why I came back, and I'm the president of Bridging the Gap globally. As an organization, we've been doing work since 2016. We take different guys from different blocks. They create their own basketball teams, we come in a mutual ground and play against one another. We shake hands, we have food. We just create a sense of community in the Inglewood area. Also, we took a group of students to DC, March for Our Lives. That trip was very important to me because we was there to stand with the students from Parkland, Florida, but also show the students back in Chicago that we have a voice too. Those students face those circumstances for 17 minutes, but we go through this every day. So I plan to run for alderman in the 16th ward and become the youngest alderman ever and create history. My organization, we don't have funding, so my approach to everything is using the other guys from the community who they say are criminals, monsters, and who they're scared to approach. So thank you guys for the platform and thank you for the time.
When people come up, we see people with values, people that's standing up, and that's very good. This is what our community is. This is what our community should be painted to be, and we should support these individuals. Even the youngest one is going to be alderman. We have next Commander Davis.
Can I have my other competitors come up?
Hey, let's get them back. Come on.
So I should say it better. Commander Davis, a veteran, and he's going to talk more about intelligence.
So I want to start out by saying what you see here today is something that I did back in 2015. I had a major press conference, all the news conference was there, and I demanded that our mayor give us the resources that we need for us veterans to help solve this violence in our community. He ignored it. And so in the military, we're peacekeepers and nation builders. They send us all over the world to do it, all over the world. But this is the knowledge and the education that we bring from the military back to our community now. This is a battleground, and that is no simpler way to put it. This is a battleground. So we bring all of that strategic military knowledge back to our community to try to be a positive force to get it solved. And so with that, we are building housing all over the city for veterans. Big units surrounded by scattered site units. Now, we have private money, but we need city money, we need state money, we need federal money in order for this dream to come true. And once we build these military pockets throughout the city, these veteran villages, and put veterans and their families in it, and then build single-family homes around them, and employ them, and give them business opportunity, and spread them out, and deploy them all over the city so that we have encased this perimeter. Then we got eyes and ears on the ground to gather intelligence, to bring it back to us about who's doing what, who our friendly foes are, who are our opposing forces. And as a military man, it don't get no simpler than that. And so we move forward today, but we need those resources. I've got private money. I need state money, I need city money, and I need federal money. And we can start this project. What I started in July 15 or 2015, let's do it now. And that's where we are. As a group, let's do it now.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Travis. My organization is called the Daddy's Club. And we've been around since 2000. So we're 18 years old. Now we have our own TV show, and we use the TV show to give opportunity to organizations like this to come on the air and tell the community the positive things that they're doing. We're on in the South Suburbs, Channel 19. We're on Chicago and Can TV. And we have our own YouTube channel. Now, when we think about poverty, I want you to know that poverty just don't happen. It's man-made. Inequality of the wealth gap is man-made. So when you think about President Johnson and the war on poverty, and that money got shifted over to the Vietnam War, they took that money to fight somebody who didn't look like us, and then the war on poverty stayed just that, poverty. This morning, 5 o'clock this morning, I got up and I got on the internet and I found out that the President of the United States just signed the military budget. $717 billion. And then if you include the CIA and other military apparatus, it comes to $1 trillion. $1 trillion. Can you imagine if we utilize some of that money to help all our various communities that need the help? We'll be all right. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. You got one of the baddest guys on the west side here. My name is Virgil Mathis. I have 3 Homeland Security projects that makes jobs for about 900 veterans. In the state of Illinois, we have about 800,000 veterans in Illinois within itself. I am a part of the American Legion Small Business Task Force, and I've done created 36 different projects, which is projects that make jobs for people in the community. I'm talking about manufacturing and getting into engineering and things like this. And young people and some veterans and other people need to get into manufacturing. We got digital printing now, and a lot of things pertaining to manufacturing, but you got to get involved and be connected with organizations that are doing these great things. You don't have to be a college graduate to make a good income up to $80,000 a year, but you got to learn this stuff, and it takes time, and you got to have good conduct when you go to these places so that you could fit in and walk out there and beat somebody. You see what I mean? I'm a patented inventor myself, and there's a lot of resources that we got here, but we have to utilize them, but we definitely need the funding. Every 72 minutes, a veteran somewhere in the United States blows his brains out, committing suicide. And a part of that is because lack of opportunity. And in our community, there's a lot of lack of opportunity, and the young people are beginning to get PTSD also. So that's the end of what I got to say. Thank you.
And we have another veteran, Miss Sanders from the Navy.
Thank you.
Thank you for this.
And thank you. I really appreciate being here for this meeting, this event. It's really very, very important. And ironically, by the way, I am a Vietnam era veteran, so I've been around a long time. I am, in fact, in the graduate program at Roosevelt. I'm finishing up a master's to do real estate development and in addition to that, project and construction management. I heard one of the brothers here from representing the military said that they were looking for funding. I'm with a couple of groups, one of which is Green Acres, and I know Will Birch is here out in the audience. And I'm with a couple of groups that have access to capital. Because when you talk about development, we all know we need capital. Now, I'm a native Chicago, and I saw how these communities declined. Like where my mother had a house in Auburn, Gresham in 1972. I saw that, how that community went down. Blacks were buying houses, and the residential blocks remained the same pretty much. But the commercial strips went down. Why did they go down? As whites were moving out, there was no commercial development. Look at what happened to Chatham. Chatham used to be a model for the United States. Some of you all remember that. I remember that. And there were businesses all over Chatham, a lot of which, most of which were owned by blacks. And we, in fact, in the pre-integration days, guess who owned the businesses? It wasn't Arabs. It wasn't whites primarily. It was us. That's what we need to come back to. Now, as I do development, and I'm talking to people now, we're talking about doing development in some of these communities. When I got accepted at Roosevelt in the master's program, I had to write an essay about why I wanted to do that. I said that we had 3 components that need to exist in every community. Great housing stock, commercial businesses that are either owned by the residents or worked by the residents who live in the area. I didn't say any foreigners. And decent schools. So the closing of all the schools that primarily happened in the black communities, that was a major monumental disaster. Would Rahm Emanuel have done that to his own people? No. So, anyway, that's the model right there. Every community is entitled to those 3 components, and we must be thinking along those lines and get that as we grow. Thank you so much. And we're going to get this done. I'm glad that all these people are here. Wonderful.
I'm Naima Latif at the State of Illinois building. We'll see you again next time.